So I'm working on creating a box around my toilet today. This is just to make it look nicer. Basically, the goal is to make a little box around the toilet so that the lid can still lift up and be used. It's going to have a nice cushion on top so that I can use this as a seat in my van. It's also going to be kind of like a little extension of the bed. Yeah, instead of just having this white toilet sitting out in the open, I'm just trying to make it look more aesthetic and also give it a function. I think with such a tiny space, it's nice to have things in the van that can have a dual purpose. So if my toilet can become like a little couch or a seat for when I'm working or eating supper, then might as well just do it. So this is currently what it looks like so far. Today I'm working on creating planks, just like what my walls are made of. I'm going to put them around this side and then around the front as well, just to make it look prettier. So that's what I'm going to be working on today. And then I'm going to take this toilet out, paint up the inside and the outside with a mold and mildew resistant paint, just in case there's any spills or something in there. So right now I'm just measuring from the wall to the end of the box so that I can make the wood pieces that go on the side. And this is going to be the lid. First cut is finished. Somehow I cut it like a quarter of an inch too short. Let's try it again. Okay, that's great news. Toilet is square, so I reckon that all of these pieces will have to be the exact same length. So I'm gonna cut a few more pieces this same length. Here's how the side of the box is looking so far. I think it's pretty good, although the bottom piece was my first attempt with a jigsaw and it's looking a bit rough, so I think I'm gonna have to try that one again. That sad piece was my first attempt. That was so bad. Anyway, it's currently thunderstorming. I had to stop, but I'll continue tomorrow. Hello. Hello. Just finished work for the day, and so I'm gonna head to Home Depot. I'm thinking of getting all of the painting and staining done today. I'm just gonna do as much as I possibly can, and this guy's gonna come with me.
Reminiscing the good old days, remembering to forget all the bad ones. I remember when college seemed so important, but is it worth it? Been wondering what truly matters to me. I know for sure it's not a fancy degree. I'd like to do what I love, but what if I'm not good enough? Split personality, sometimes sour, sometimes sweet. An M. Night Shyamalan story called Everything's Peachy. Can we just skip straight to the plot twist, please? Life's all about balance, and real love takes practice. We know accidents happen, but my love's on purpose. Reciprocate the feeling, find peace beneath the surface.
Probably doesn't look like it's been a long amount of time, but I've been painting for hours. I feel like the epitome of a van build is underestimating the amount of time it takes to actually do things, because you look at a task sometimes and you'll be like, should take 30 minutes. I thought painting would maybe take me like an hour. I think I've been doing this for like 3 hours. I'm on to my last piece now. Painting this piece purple to match, and then I have some dings along the bottom. That piece is, if you look too closely at it, you can see it's all scratched up and worn out. It's a bit banged up from traveling, I guess, so it needs some touch-ups. I kind of like the smell of paint. It brings back childhood memories of like my dad painting my bedroom. Aw, isn't that nice? When I first installed my toilet, I didn't actually vent it because I read that venting is optional. And then I went to Vancouver Island, of course, where it's very humid and moist and rainy there. When I took apart the toilet to start the installation, because let me tell you, there was like a lot of condensation in there. there was a lot of condensation running down the sides of the inside of the toilet walls. So it was just like constantly wet in there, and it was growing like this white fuzzy moldy kind of substance, which means that there's too much moisture in there. And I had never really taken everything out and looked actually inside, except when I just noticed all this condensation just like dripping down the walls all the time. And I was like, okay, I probably need to vent my toilet then. And then I start on the venting process, which is I had to like drill a hole through the bottom of my van, just vent the inside of the toilet to the outside fresh air, you know? And when I took everything out, there was probably, I don't know, half an inch of water just sitting on the bottom of the toilet, like on the inside. And I am so lucky that I did not get any leaks into my van, because my whole van is made of wood. Like, what if all that like poopy pissy water, condensation water, like was slowly leaking out onto my floor and like under my bed? That would have been such a mess. I really should have done the venting process sooner, but I don't know, people say it's optional, and so I just didn't want to vent it if I didn't have to. Plus, even when I haven't vented it, there hasn't been any nasty smells. It doesn't smell like poo or anything, so I really didn't even think that I needed to that badly. But now I see that venting is really needed. Hopefully venting it to the outside actually helps it have less condensation and wetness inside. I'm just so lucky that somehow it just didn't leak, because I had drilled the toilet into my floor, so there could have been little gaps in between the screws letting the leakage through, and it didn't, which I got so lucky. It would have been such a mess to just clean that up. Alright, that's gonna be it for this video. I'm not gonna post the results of the toilet box. I'm most likely creating a short about that, just like I've been making shorts for everything in my van build so far. So when the toilet box and the toilet venting setup is complete, you'll see that on YouTube Shorts probably in a week or two. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one. Bye!